Hey guys, this is our first factoring video. This will be the only one in this unit, but it is the first that we're going to do. We're going to talk about trinomial factoring, which is where there's three terms. There's kind of two different types of those. And then we're going to talk about two other kinds. These are in the wrong order, but I'll fix yours so they're in the right order. This one should be. Actually, this is okay. And we're talking about when there's four terms, what we do. So this I think of this as like a type 1. This is like type 1. And the trick here is that you think about this. You think about every trinomial, quadratic trinomial looks like this. And for the type 1 is where a equals 1. That's where there's like no number in front of the squared term. And my example here, it's x squared, but it could be p squared. It doesn't matter what it is, something squared. And when the number in front of it is 1, or there's no number there, that means there's a 1. But these are relatively easy. You just look for two numbers whose product is 12. And their sum is -8. And if you're thinking about this kind of generic one with A and B and C instead of numbers, the product is C, this last number. And they add up to the middle number, which is B. And so you look at all the factors of 12, and really they both have to be negative, so that I get a negative number here. Product of two negatives makes a positive, but the sum is negative, so negative, negative. That was like a T. It's going to be -2 and -6. Then you just write those in the parentheses, pair each one with a variable, the P, and then you're done. If you multiply this back out just to check, P squared minus 2P minus 6P plus 12. That's P squared minus 8P plus 12. So that worked. I'm not surprised it did, but I'm glad it did. And that's how we factor the type 1. Again, I cannot emphasize enough. These only work when this trick only works when A is 1. If A is not 1, this doesn't work, period. You can't do this if A is not 1. And we're going to see how to do one where A is not 1 right now. We're going to do that next. Okay. So I call these type 2. A is, I say greater than 1. It could be negative, but just A is bigger, like the absolute value of A is bigger than 1. So like I said, you cannot do the trick where you just find two numbers whose product is this that add up to this. That's actually, there aren't any for this one. There's no numbers whose product is 28 to add to 45, so it doesn't work anyways. So instead you got to do this. You multiply A and C. I always draw it like this. 7 times -28. You multiply them together. I don't know why I wrote it like that. 7 times 28 is 49 times 4, 196. It's only -196. You multiply these two together. I'm just going to check that in my calculator to make sure, and it is true. And now I'm going to look at factors of this. I want ones that give me this number in the middle. So there's a lot of factors. 2 and 100, 2 and 2 and I think 98, right? Yeah. 2 and 98, 3 and does 3 go into it? I don't think it does. Nope. It's really just 7s and 2s and 4s, right? So 3 doesn't work. 4 should. So I get 4 and 45. Oh, 4 and 49, excuse me. Should divide by 7. Get 28, 7 and 28. I know it divides by 14. 14 and 14 squared. And now I'm done. These are all the factors. And the trick here is that because this is a -196, I need one of these to be positive and one of these to be negative so that they're actually factors of 196. And then I need to add those up to get to 45. So really what I want, because it's -45, I look for the difference. Between two factors. So I want the difference here to be 45, and that difference is right here, 49 and 4. So I choose that one, and I get 7v squared. And here's what you do. Sorry. I'm just saying this like you guys already know this. So once you multiply these and you get this number and you find the two factors whose sum is negative 45. That's going to be 4 and negative 49. And then the way I've always done this is you rewrite this middle term. I'm going to write it in green so we understand what's happening. I'm going to rewrite the green term in terms of these numbers 4 and negative 49. And this is what I mean. 7v squared stays the same. But now instead of negative 45v, I'm going to write it like this. Negative 49v plus 4v. And then the minus 28 stays the same. And like, understand this. This in the green box is the same as these two green things here. Negative 45v is negative 49v plus 4v. These are exactly the same. Negative 45 is negative 49 plus 4. I got that from up here. And now I do what's called factoring by grouping, which is where I group the first two terms. And then I group the next two terms. And then I see what can I factor out of, and I see what's common to both of these terms. You get 7x times x minus 7. What's common to both of these? 4. And then the way to finish this is you take the two outside terms, the 7x and the 4, that goes in one parentheses, and then the thing that's repeated goes in the other parentheses, and this is now factored. There's a bunch of steps here. So step 1 is to multiply these two numbers together. Step 2 is to find the factors of that product that add up to the middle number. Step 3 is to rewrite that middle number in terms of those two factors. Step 4 is to like group the first two and the last two. Factor the things that are common out of the groups you just made. And then this is actually technically factoring again, but this last step is you write one of the things that's repeated and then the two things on the outside. Those go into two parentheses and then you're done. So this is like a multiplying step. This is like a factoring, factors, finding factor step. This step is just rewriting. This step is grouping. These steps are both factoring. So that's how we do the type 1 and the type 2. So we'll talk about the next one in the next video. The other ones are just kind of a little more complicated versions of this. So we'll get to them in just a second. See you soon.